It's Richard Blade here on First Wave, and a little Duran Duran never hurt anybody. In the meantime, how about some orchestral maneuvers in the dark? This is Electricity. So hi, I'm Richard Blade. You might know me back in the day on the world famous KROQ. Now I'm on SiriusXM's First Wave playing all your favorite classic alternative. In other words, hip 80s. And also I'm in the club. So I'm here with the guys from PSSL to talk a little about music and DJing and equipment and gear. So let's find out what's going on. I get to be asked the questions for a change. I'm currently on SiriusXM. My main channel is First Wave, which is channel 33 on both Sirius and XM, and that's classic alternative, you know, all the great Cure, Depeche Mode, Smiths, Morrissey, Duran Duran. I also do a show at the weekends on the Spectrum, which is more mellow. You know, you can't have my energy on the Spectrum. It's a lot of John Mayer and the occasional classic in there from Eric Clapton. And my radio career in America, I'm also quite well known on the West Coast because of working for KROQ, or KROQ as it's called in Southern California. And I also worked for KNAC in Long Beach before that. And then the beginnings of my career are in Europe, where I was at college, and I noticed the college DJ got all the girls. So I DJ'd in Oxford, which was where I went to college, and all the university colleges there. And when I left, I went to Europe and toured Europe for 2 years and played all over Europe in the clubs, but always wanted to come to America. Because, you know, sunshine, blue skies, California girls, that's the dream of any red-blooded Englishman. One of the highlights for me, or actually two of the highlights for me, as a MC and host, outside of being just like a regular DJ, has to be going on stage and introducing bands. That is always amazing. One of the first ones I did back in 1982 when I first started at KROQ, about 4 weeks after I started, was going on stage at the US Festival in front of 250,000 people and introducing the B-52s. That was a hell of a moment because, you know, I didn't know how people were going to react. You know, I was new on the station. It was one of my first public appearances. But to see, as far as the eye could see, this horde there, it was incredible. And to introduce the B-52s, that was a big moment that stays with me. DJing for Michael Jackson a bunch of times was great. And it sounds cliche, but probably the biggest thing as a mobile DJ is when you're doing a wedding, and at the end of the wedding, that 82-year-old lady comes up, and instead of her doing this, which you often get, you know, because they think music's too loud or whatever, and you can have it at no volume, you know, 1 dB, and then like, but when that 82-year-old woman comes up to you and says, I just want to say thank you, my husband hasn't danced with me for 15 years, and he did tonight. That is always a highlight, and it sounds cliche, but it does make you feel great, and that's what I tell my wife when I get home. I say, hey, that 82-year-old woman was there again. I have a new baby! I have a new baby! I can't wait! I've actually used this quite a few times over the last couple of months because a good buddy of mine, who's a client of PSSL, a guy called Stephen Wayne, has one. And it is like the sexiest beast I've ever seen. And he actually does video mixing. And he uses it with the Serato video program that he has. And it is just great, and I'm so excited to use this. So I do carry backup for everything. I mean, that's one thing I'm a huge believer in backup. And I usually bring a little Hercules. I always say it wrong. It's the 4-channel one, not the RMX2, but the 4MX, I think it is. Yeah, I carry that, and it fits in my backpack. I've got a little hard shell black backpack, and with my laptop stand and my laptop and a whole bunch of wires and my mic and my headphones, and I love the Pioneer headphones. The Pioneer headphones are great, and so that's my equipment. Then I have a little backup computer in case my other computer goes down. So I have two computers. This will be my primary deck from now on, with the Hercules as a backup deck. The most embarrassing on-air moment, I think, has to be what could have been most embarrassing moment, but I kind of covered up. I was working at KNAC doing the overnights. I was doing midnight to 6, and it's long, particularly when you're doing gigs in clubs and mobiles and things like that. So I'm playing Light My Fire, which is 7 minutes long, and I actually liked the song. I had it cranked, and I was listening to the song, and I woke up, and Break On Through was finishing, which is the last track on that side. And I was like, oh my God. It was about 3:30 in the morning, so the boss wasn't listening, and there was no recording of it going on, so he wasn't going to find out. So I just let Break On Through finish, and I hit the mic on, and I went, so good to hear an entire album side sometimes. So there you go, The Doors. And now, here's something new from Frank Zappa and his daughter, whose name is Moon Unit. It's Valley Girl, bam! And you're like, God, I hope nobody realized I fell asleep. The hardest time for me in my career was when I first came to America. American people were great. I mean, everything was terrific here. But getting into radio, that is why I came here. And I could not get arrested. It was just one door after another slammed in my face. So I started doing mobiles and the clubs to keep myself busy, and I got incredibly successful. But it was radio that I'd come over here for. And I made a little home studio with an Akai tape deck, reel to reel, and edit it. And every week I would send out new audition tapes to all the radio stations in town. And I would knock on the doors, and the PDs would know who I was. It was a very, very tough time. I mean, it was constant rejection. And anyone who's tried in any kind of show business field has to get used to it. It's not me. It's not hearts and flowers and violins for me. I mean, everyone's gone through it. Whether you want to, write a book, write a screenplay, become an actor, or whatever, you just have to have that thick skin and believe in yourself and keep going. I would love to know how the music industry is going to change over the next 5 years, because right now it is undergoing and has undergone the biggest sea change, as they call it, in history. I mean, nothing since the invention of Edison's first wax phonograph has been as big as digital. I mean, vinyl wasn't. It was just an extension of that wax phonograph, but digital has changed everything. When I was doing Video Beat, we had to get music clearance from the record labels, and we had to deal with like 18 record labels to get clearance from all of them. Today there's 3 record labels left, and that's it. They've just gone away. And the way that music is sold today is so different. A lot of bands put out the music themselves and put it on iTunes, and though they're selling a fraction of what they used to sell in the 80s, they're making more money, because the deal with iTunes is like, I think, 30 cents to iTunes, 70 cents to them. So they're making more money, because back in the day, they would only get maybe between 12 cents to 80 cents an album sold. And out of that money, they'd have to pay back for the music videos, for the recording and everything. So quite often, bands would leave a record label after 2 to 4 years owing the label money for the privilege of putting out their music. So everything has changed, and that digital revolution is still happening. It's still that new wave that is breaking on the shore, and I don't think anyone quite knows where it's going to play out. One of the amazing things, I think, with DJ equipment is it's keeping up with and actually forcing some of the change that's happening in the music world. With the arrival of digital technology, radio, regular broadcast radio, has lagged behind, because they didn't adopt quick enough to the internet, to the iPod, to satellite radio. But I think the DJ manufacturers need to be congratulated, and I'm sure other audio manufacturers as well, but I'm speaking as a DJ, I'm not a musician, so I can't talk about guitars and things like that. But I think it's amazing. The new Pioneer that I got, for example, has these sample pads, which I think is just brilliant to have them there. Because you can put your loops in, you can put your samples in, and for me, I can pre-record things and to hit that with like KROQ drops when I'm doing an 80s party. You know, it's right in between, bam, you can hit it, and KROQ, rock of the 80s, or whatever. And I think that's amazing. And the fact that you can carry something that is so unbelievably advanced in your hands, it's beyond belief. With the continuing change in equipment, I mean, I see the manufacturers still leading the way. I see a lot less wiring going on. I think Bluetooth and wireless technology is going to be consistently more and more stable. So there's going to be less wiring, less cables, which is great. By the way, if you're a DJ and you're running power cables, throw the orange ones away. Don't ever use orange cables at a gig, please. It's so ghetto. It will bring you down. You can make more money with a black cable. It's worth it. But for the equipment manufacturers, I think it's phenomenal what they do. The people that come up with these products have such an imagination, and they're thinking of stuff that I haven't even thought about. I'm just happy to play the music and keep the people dancing. And all of this is bonus to me. It's like amazing, you know. I mean, the fact that mics these days have a much better cardio pattern so they don't feed back like they used to. The fact that powered speakers are so light and so much more reliable than they used to be. It's great. So, I mean, I just look forward to the next advance in technology. I'm excited about the Bluetooth coming, you know, and the interaction with technology like iPads and Androids. So whichever way it goes, I leave it to the engineers and the creative people, but I'll be there to go, yes! With the transition from vinyl to digital, there's a lot of DJs I know that love their vinyl and vinyl snobs. Baba Booey on Howard Stern is always talking to Howard, oh, vinyl is so much better, and Howard's like, dude, get over it. I agree with Howard Stern. I was thrilled to leave vinyl and go to CD, and then thrilled to go from CD to digital, because it's so much easier. There's nothing heavier than a milk crate full of vinyl. I've said that, I've gone on record as that. To be able to play your music digitally, as long as you've got good digital sampling rate, like 320. If you're just starting out in DJing today, it's a different world. It really is. Don't go necessarily for broadcast radio. Because broadcast radio is, I think, unfortunately on its last legs because of satellite and because of Pandora and Spotify and things like that. Broadcast radio is not the place to be. Try producing your own music if you can, but there's still, for 99% of all the DJs, there's a lot of work out there as a mobile DJ and as a club DJ. And the number one most important thing as a live DJ, far more important than anything else, is read the crowd. It doesn't matter how good you are at mixing. It doesn't matter about loops and drops and phases and effects and sirens. None of that matters. If you don't read the crowd, you're a crap DJ, because you will lose the audience. If you read the crowd and play the right music for the crowd and give them a great night, you'll be invited back. Personally, as a DJ, both on the radio and working live, and I'm always in clubs and I'm always doing mobiles. I do at least 2 or 3 mobiles every single week with my own gear. It's important for me to find a place where I can buy gear, A, at a good price, that's so important these days, and B, from people who know what they're doing. And so many stores that I've been to, you know, the sound side of it, the DJ gear, the equipment, even the leads, are just like a sideline. You know, they're too busy specializing in other things. But I found at PSSL, you walk in there and everyone knows what they're talking about. And it's the same when I call on the phone. You guys were great, so I've got nothing but good things to say over the years with my experience at PSSL. It comes on time, comes at the right price, and everything works. Okay, so hopefully that little interview tells you a little about me. If you've got any more questions, you can find me on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Richard Blade Page. And if there's a few Richard Blade pages, but it's me in an orange t-shirt on a stage with DJ equipment in front of me. That's me. So join me there. And if you've got any questions, feel free to message me. You can also follow me on Twitter and tweet me. It's at Richard Blade. But I'd love to hear from you. And if you do put any messages or posts up there, give me about 24 hours and I'll try and reply to them, because I do get back to just about everyone I can. But in the meantime, I have to get back to my radio show. I want to thank the folks from PSSL. Great place to go. I'm not saying it because they're here in studio. It really is. I've been shopping there for years and continue to do so. They are great people. All right, back to the radio show, because Depeche Mode is finishing and I can't have dead air. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you at a gig, all right? It's Depeche Mode here on First Wave. I'm Richard Blade. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Now, if you are in the mood for some Stephen